me are the remains of what used to be the East Newhall Farm, and I'm here with Doug, who's got a pretty ambitious project on his hands. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, I'm hoping to transform this beautiful 18th century farmsteading into a Kingsbarns Distillery and Visitor Centre, which will be the first visitor distillery in the region in Fife. My background is in golf, and this is how I came up with the idea for the Kingsbarns Distillery. I was caddying out there on the Kingsbarns golf links, and I was caddying for an American, and he asked me where he could visit a distillery nearby. And I said, sorry, you're going to have to go out with Fife to Pitlochry or Tullibardine near Gleneagles. That got me thinking there has to be an opportunity to create a craft distillery at the home of golf. I looked around the area for a good location, and it just so happens that this beautiful building is the perfect location and the perfect setting for a traditional farm craft distillery.
Well, do you want to take me around it and show me what you've got planned for it?
For sure, let's go.
Great, thanks.
Why do I always fall? Why do I always fall? Why do I always fall?
Okay, watch your step here, it's a little bit dicey. So we're now in the octagonal shaped mill. There used to be a horse or a big cow or bull which used to go round and round and grind the grain.
Wow.
And the two beams would go through those two doors to grind the grain.
What a beautiful ruin.
This lean-to extension will be knocked down and we'll be replacing it with a modern all-glass building. And this will also be part of the restaurant cafe area with the bar here.
Walking around here with a whiskey in hand, I can really imagine it. But how on earth are you going to pull this off? Where are you getting the funding for this?
So we've got our equity share release scheme, our membership scheme, and with a few government grants as well. I'm hoping within the next few months we're going to be able to transform the East New Farmsteading into the Kingsbarns Distillery. So Shantha, I'm taking you into our Doocot here, and we've got around 500 original clay dew boxes. Each one of these dew boxes there was a white dove or pigeon. We thought about putting the pigeons back in there, but we thought no, let's put whiskey bottles in there, let's make it our tasting room, have a circular table, and so people can sit here, and instead of the white doves rising, it'll be the whiskey, the angel share rising to the heavens.
It's a wonderful idea. The whole thing's a wonderful idea. All the very best to you. Slanjava.
And finally, a group of entrepreneurs have embarked on a fundraising drive to raise up to £2 million to capitalise on two of Scotland's great loves by creating a mini distillery in North East Fife. Here's Craig Millar.
A foretaste of things to come. Along with his team of fellow directors, Doug Clement wants to turn this place into a micro distillery to produce whisky and other spirits. This 18th century farmsteading is on the Cambo estate near Kingsbarns Golf Course and the home of golf at St Andrews.
There's got to be an opportunity to create a small craft distillery near St Andrews.
The Kingsbarns Company of Distillers aims to produce a new single malt.
In Fife here, we're in the lowland region of whisky making, and there's only a handful of distilleries in the lowland region. So I think there is a gap in the market for a new lowland distillery and lowland whisky.
The project hopes to capitalise on the magnet of golf to North East Fife, but there's still a long way to go, and the next phase involves fundraising through a share release scheme. Doug is confident, though, that the combination of whisky and golf is a winner. Craig Millar, STV News.
My name is Doug Clement, and I'm a founding director, project manager of the Kingsbarns Distillery. Our premise is simple. There is a growing demand for single malt Scotch whisky, both at home and abroad, and there isn't yet a visitor distillery in St Andrews, the home of golf, and its region, the Kingdom of Fife. I've assembled a team of passionate and experienced professionals, located a magical building in the ideal setting, and have secured planning permission for its future restoration. We are now seeking investment for the future development of the project.
Scotland is very rich in farm architecture. This particular steading at Kingsbarns from the early 19th century You've seen its castle style, which is designed to be seen across the landscape. Now, all of these steadings are redundant today to a greater or lesser extent. But to be absolutely honest, there is no more perfect fit in terms of a change of use than to make a steading like this into a distillery. After all, both have mills, and so many of the functions are similar, and the scale of the accommodation really works. This is a really tremendous project.
The Fairmont Hotel is a 209-bedroom luxury 5-star resort, one of only 2 Fairmonts in the UK, our sister hotel of course being the famous Savoy Hotel down in London. We do have the largest conference and banqueting facilities in the country, and do, on very regular occasions have great functions, large corporate groups, buyouts and that kind of thing. Well, I think one of the great opportunities for us, and something that's very exciting for us at the Fairmont, is the opportunity to really have a synergy for the corporate groups that we bring to the hotel and what's going on just down the road at the Kingsbarns Distillery. I think it would be really amazing for us to be able to take our groups, be they small groups of 15, 20 or even up to the 400, 500 group buyouts that we have, down and show them the distillery, get them to go around and really get a feel for whisky production and how it works, and also how it works in a local lowland distillery, which is something that we really don't have in Scotland anymore today. I think there's a lot of potential for a lot of tie-ins between the Fairmont and Kingsbarns Distillery in the products we stock, the products we sell, but most importantly in the sort of theatre and experience that we can give to the guests who come and stay at the Fairmont St Andrews.
The Kingsbarns Distillery, which isn't quite open yet, but on the West Sands, not a million miles from the first tee, they're taking part in a sand sculpturing competition. Peter Bignell, one of the most famous sculptors in the world, is coming here to create all sorts of golf pictures and one of Severiano, and it's a magic moment if you get a chance to go over there.
Because you look at this display and you've done golf balls that look so realistic, people think they are just big plastic replica balls. There's a picture of Sevi Ballesteros winning the Open and that famous punch. You've got a thing to Rory McIlroy saying 63 to commemorate his round yesterday, and you've also got a keg, a whiskey keg, and also you've done a tower as well. I mean, it's a real variety.
Yes, the tower's a little Doocot that's the centrepiece of the upcoming Kingsbarns Distillery.
Well, it's fantastic stuff. It looks very good here. If you get the chance to come up to St Andrews, just stroll along the West Sands beach. It is stunning.
Everybody that's anybody in golf knows St Andrews, and more people are coming to know Kingsbarns. And many of the golfing fraternity are also enthusiastic whisky drinkers, as I can tell you from my own experience. So you have a captive market. That's the first thing. I think secondly, location from another aspect could be very interesting. It may seem to people to be isolated, but when you look at the visitor numbers and the visitor and tourist statistics for this part of the world, you have a very serious chance of building a terrific visitor centre with a large number of visitors throughout the year, not just in the summer, but throughout the whole of the year. Both the depth and the professionalism of the research that had gone into it and the presentation of the business plan encouraged me to believe that the people behind it know what they're doing, know what they plan to do, and know how they're going to get there. That's not always been the case with other distillery business plans that have crossed my path in the last 2 years or so. So all of those things, I think, contribute to giving me a good feeling that this is going to be a very successful venture.
As I was driving through Fife, this is my favourite time of the year in Fife, when all the crops are cut and we've got amazing blue skies here and we've got a lovely harvest moon out there tonight. And I'm full of admiration for what Doug is trying to do, just to shine a spotlight on Fife and to have people come to Fife that have got a real passion for the thing that they do. So anyway, this is our drinking song. I don't have that many whisky songs, but this is a Glasgow drinking song, which some of you may remember. From to the east, oh, there came a hardman, all the way from Brighton and glory, hallelujah, call the royal
to a pub and he came out paralytic. Oh, VP inside there and what a hell of a mixture, colour oil and the orange juice. Does this bus go to the Davidson alley? Oh, I'm looking for a lumber and glory hallelujah, colour oil and the orange juice. Well, at the dancing he met Harry Mary. Oh, they flew their gorbals and glory hallelujah, colour oil and the orange juice. He says, hey Mary, are you dancing? Oh no, it's just the way I'm starting. Glory hallelujah, colour oil and the orange juice. He says, hey Mary, you're one in a million. Oh, so's your bloody chances. Glory hallelujah, colour oil and the orange juice. He says, hey Mary, can I run you home? Oh, I've got a pair of sand shoes. You hell of a funny, colour oil and the orange juice. They went down through the back close and out to the dunny. Oh, it wasn't for the first time. Glory hallelujah, colour oil and the orange juice. And down came her mammy, going out to the clergy. Oh, I buggered off sharpish and glory hallelujah, colour oil and the orange juice. Now Harry Mary's looking for her hard man. Oh, he's joined the Foreign Legion and Sahara and Aracams, colour oil and the orange juice. Now Harry Mary's had her little baby. Oh, her father's in the army. Glory hallelujah, colour oil and the orange juice.
I think it's a song from Australia or from somebody that was Scottish who moved to Australia and who just continually pined to be home again.
Faces and the photographs are faded. I can't believe she looks so much like me. It's been 10 long years today now since I left from Old Cork Station. I won't be back until the drumming's done. For the rain never falls on the dusty Diamentina, and the drover finds it hard to change his mind. And those years are slowly gone like the trays from Old Cork Station. I won't be back until the drumming's done. Sometimes I think that the sun comes up each morning just to set up rain and burn it all away. Times I think that I'll settle back in Sydney. But October finds it hard to change his mind. For those cattle trails and on, fences run forever. I won't be back until the droving's done. For the rain never falls on the dusty Diamentina. The drover finds it hard to change his mind. It's been 10 long years today now since I left Old Cork Station. I won't be back until the droving's done. For the rain never falls on the dusty Diamentina, and the drover finds it hard to change his mind. And those years are slowly gone like the trains from Old Cork Station. I won't be back until the droving's done. Oh, I won't be back until Duke gets his distillery built.
On behalf of the Kingsbarns Company of Distillers, I'd like to thank you for your time. Hopefully, you will now understand why we're all so excited about this venture. If you'd like to become a part of the Kingsbarns Company of Distillers, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Slán Javal.
Scotland's newest whisky distillery has opened in Fife. £3.5 million has been spent transforming an 18th century farmsteading into a tourist attraction. Craig Millar reports.
The dream of one-time golf caddy Douglas Clement had started off like this, but now his vision has turned into reality with the conversion of an old farmsteading into Scotland's latest whisky distillery. Doug had set out to find business backers to create the Kingsbarns Distillery to capitalise on the golf and whisky tourism markets. And his dream was realised by the Weems family, who have ancestral links with Fife and were already an independent whisky bottler. They've invested over £3 million in the project, which has been aided by nearly £700,000 of European money.
When you put 6 years of blood, sweat and tears into a project, to see all your dreams realised is quite emotional, but it is a very proud moment for me to be able to create a little bit of history here, not just for Kingsbarns, but for Fife, the Weems family and the Scotch whisky industry.
The whisky stills arrived only a few weeks ago, but the transformation of the building, even in that short period of time, has been remarkable. The immediate plan is to produce 140,000 litres a year of new make spirit, which will mature into whisky, with single cask editions being released over 3 to 5 years.
You couldn't get two more Scottish things than golf and whisky, and Kingsbarns has got both of these on its doorstep. A whisky distillery is the latest addition to the area, which means that all those thirsty golfers can stop off for a dram or two before heading off to play their next 18 holes. There are certainly worse ways to spend the day.
So my name's Douglas Clement and I've been a caddy on and off at Kingsbarns Golf Links since 2002. Our golfers generally ask us what to do in the evenings, and sometimes they would ask me where the nearest distillery was, and I was inspired to create Kingsbarns Distillery. Slight problem is I didn't know too much about whisky, but I knew of this magnificent 18th century farmsteading, and you can also see it from the 14th green at Kingsbarns. I was able to secure the money from the Weems family who came on board, took over my project and turned my dreams into reality. So by law, Scotch whisky has to mature for a minimum of 3 years and 1 day. The Kingsbarns spirit now is at that stage. So our Kingsbarns single malt will be light, it will be fruity, slightly floral, and quite a good introduction to whisky drinking. I still am a golf caddy, and many of my clients would ask me if there was a whisky distillery nearby. I would say no, you have to drive outside of Fife to see one, and my clients were always disappointed. So in 2008, the idea popped into my head that maybe I should try and create one. Problem was I didn't know anything about whisky really, and I didn't know anything about business. I immediately got in contact with Anthony Wills at Kilhoman, Mark Rainier at Bruichladdich, and Arran, and I went over, I met those guys, and they gave me a lot of advice and encouragement. I didn't have any money, so I needed some foundation money to find a site and get a planning permission. So I did a business plan and an investment document. I started pitching to the golfers I caddied for, and I did press releases and lots of promotions. By the end of 2009, I'd raised a little bit of money. This site was always in my mind because it had been derelict for 20 years, and when I was a wee boy, I used to come here because it used to be a petting zoo, a cafe and a farm shop, and I sort of I knew the Erskines at Cambo, and we had lots of parties and great times here. So I always drove past here because I live in Amsterdam or Cellardijk. Used to drive here caddying and used to think, wow, one day that's going to be an amazing house. So when I had the idea for a distillery, I approached the Erskines, who were kind of interested, and I managed to persuade them to give me a lease, and then I used the money that I'd raised from that first round of fundraising to try and get planning permission. Took much longer than planned, took almost 2 years to get that initial planning. And then once I had planning, I released my round 2 investment document. That proved to be a lot more difficult. That 2011 year, so many rejections, must have been at least 50 to 100 pitches that I did. The problem with whisky is it's a long-term investment. So at the end of 2011, I regrouped and tried to focus on industry people. So I went pitching to the independent bottlers, and a few of them were interested, but the turning point really came in the end of 2012 when I managed to get a £670,000 European Union grant via the Scottish Government. And as soon as I had this bit of money, the Weems family offered to come on board. They bought myself out and my foundation investors, and I became an employee and worked here for a few years as a visitor centre manager before deciding to move on in 2017. I still visit here regularly with groups. I'm an avid collector of all the Kingsbarns releases. I've managed to buy every single one wherever it's been in the world. So I think I've got 32 different releases, and it still means the world to me. And it means the world to me that you're all here. It really makes all that blood, sweat and tears for those 9 years creating the place worthwhile. I'd just like to also thank Peter and his production team, and Isabella and William Weems for doing such a great job. So thank you very much for coming. I'm going to hand over to Peter. Bye everyone.
My opinion so far, the Founders Bottlings have really represented what we're trying to achieve here as a distillery. So Isabella Weems very wisely says, it's about letting the Kingsbarns character shine in every single release we put out.